Hello and welcome to UC Berkeley. We're so excited to have you joining us here today virtually, and we're going to start our tour. We have lots of information about our school for you. My name is Kara, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. I use the she, her, and hers pronouns, and I'm from Valencia, California, which is down in SoCal, right by Six Flags Magic Mountain for all of you roller coaster lovers. I'm heading into my senior year in the fall, and I'm studying Media Studies and Sociology. Outside of my academics, I'm involved in the UC Rally Committee, which is a spirit group here on campus. We wave flags on the football field. We fire a cannon whenever our team scores. It's a very spirited group. I really love it there. I'm also involved in Greek life. I'm in a social sorority. If you have any questions about Greek life at Berkeley, definitely ask away. I'm also in the Business Careers and Entertainment Club, or BCEC for short, where we bring in members of the entertainment industry to tell us a little bit about their lives. I'm also a lifeguard on campus and have an off-campus internship at a wine PR company. That's a little about me. Now we'll go into some housekeeping for our tour here today. This is a 45-minute presentation, and you'll see that there's a Q&A function right at the bottom of your screen. Type any and all questions you have about UC Berkeley into that box right there, and we will get to them. There will also be polls launched throughout this presentation, so as you're learning a little bit about us, we can get to know a little bit about you. This is being recorded, and there will be other versions available on our website that you can check out after the tour. This is a campus overview from the student perspective, so we do not have any admissions or financial aid information. Those are different departments that we can direct you to if you are looking for more of that side of things. Finally, we'll end this tour with a live Q&A session with our presenters, and we'll do our best to answer all the questions that you have. No question is a silly question, just type it into that Q&A. I'll pass it off to our presenters for today.
Hi everyone, my name is Isaiah. I use the he, him pronouns. I am from Patterson, California. It's a really small town in the middle of the Central Valley, about an hour and a half south of Berkeley. I am a first year going into my second year, and I'm intended to major in social welfare and legal studies. And outside of the scope of the classroom, I'm a part of the UC Rally Committee, which is all about showing the spirit, pride, and traditions here on campus. I'm a part of EOP, which is our Educational Opportunities Program for low-income and first-generation students. I'm a part of GBO, or Golden Bear Orientation, and I'll be a leader this upcoming year, so I'll be working with incoming students in the fall. And I was a basic needs center intern specifically at our food pantry as a food recovery and food specialist. And I'm so happy and so excited to be here with you all today.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Raven. My pronouns are she, her, hers. My hometown is in San Antonio, Texas, which is where I'm currently at. I'm in my childhood bedroom. I am a rising sophomore who is majoring in political science. My minor in English, we'll see how that all goes. I'm involved in the ASUC, which is the Associated Students of the University of California, which is our student government. I worked on educational opportunities, and I'm also in Greek life. I'm in a social sorority, and I am the head of recruitment for that sorority.
So welcome to Berkeley. You're going to see a cool little poll pop up on your screen at the moment, and it's just for us to get us like a little bit about our demographic and who we have with us today. And while you fill that out, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Berkeley. So we just celebrated 150 years. Yes, you heard that right, 150 years of women here at Berkeley. So Cal began admitting women 150 years ago to the university, which was long before they even had the right to vote, which is always something we're celebrating here on campus. And in the upper right, you're going to see like an overhead view of our like campanile and our Memorial Glade area. And in the smack dab in the middle, you're going to see one of our beautiful bear statues that we have here on campus, which is Sturdy the Bear. And fun fact, this is the very first bear statue that I had ever seen when I came to campus. And it's the very first bear statue that I've ever seen in my entire life. So that was super cool to see when I first came here on the campus.
And now we're just going to go over our agenda for today. The key topics will be the overview of Berkeley, academics, housing and dining, health and safety, student resources, student life, athletics, libraries and research, and remote learning. However, this is just a general overview. Feel free to ask a ton of questions in the Q&A section that involves these key topics or outside of these key topics, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. We have tons of guys on the back end who are really eager to answer them. And yeah, just feel free to ask any questions along the way.
And I can see in our poll, we have a lot of high school seniors and juniors with us. So I'm super excited for you all to be here. I hope your next high school year goes well for you all. And now on to a little bit about our history. We were founded in 1868, and if you ever hear Berkeley being called as Berkeley, Cal, University of California, California, it is because we are the very first UC campus, so we get the bragging rights to be called all these wonderful names. In the upper left, you're going to see our beautiful mascot, Oski the Bear, or as we know him as a golden bear. You'll see Oski all over campus. He's just walking around, hanging out with people. He's just a mischievous little guy, and we're all really big Oski stands here on campus. Our campus size, we have around 31,000 undergraduate students and about 12,000 graduate students. So you get a real nice mix of students to meet and interact with on campus. So you'll never be like alone here on campus. You're just going to be meeting different people every single day. And some of our historical landmarks, you're going to see on the upper right, an overhead GIF of our campanile, which is the third largest clock and bell tower in the world. On the bottom left, you're going to see our Sproul Plaza, which was the epicenter of the free speech movement back in the 1960s. And in the bottom right, you're going to see Sather Gate, which is a beautiful gate that you'll see on campus. It was also part of our free speech movement era, and it's just a beautiful place to see.
Speaking of free speech movement, the biggest part about Berkeley is the campus culture. And one of the things we take pride in is our free speech movement. It began in the 1960s by Mario Savio. The free speech movement is pictured in the top right-hand corner. And it was led by a bunch of Berkeley students who wanted to be able to speak their own truth and on their own political opinions and not just have one centralized voice based off the college campus. And because of that, a bunch of college campuses across the country led their own protests. And to this day, we see that same vigor not only at other college campuses, but especially at Berkeley. You'll see students protesting or even talking about different things that they're passionate about politically and joining organizations that are centered around that. Outside of that, we are also leaders and like to challenge the status quo in whatever we're deciding to do, whether that's in the political science realm or within STEM. A bunch of students want to push and elevate ourselves through the next generation and really bring about change. There's also tons of research and innovation opportunities, tons of students that just want to go beyond what they're learning in the classroom, but go outside of it. And then the biggest thing that drew me to Berkeley was the community. The moment I joined Berkeley, I just got a bunch of DMs from students and also engaged with other students in my cohort. And all of us were just super excited and they gave us tons of information and really made us feel comfortable before we even stepped foot on the campus, especially in this virtual environment. I feel like it was really difficult to do, but Berkeley students are just very welcoming and understanding of not only the time period that we're in, but just understanding like being an intro college student, all the quirks that come with that. And then outside of that, there's just tons of spirit and pride for our school and what we believe in and believing in public service. A ton of students are engaged in community service on campus and outside of the campus in the surrounding areas of Oakland and San Francisco. So Berkeley is not only just filled with a bunch of change makers, but you'll truly find your people, and it's all of us are just simply golden bears, and it's just dope to see.
I'll have to agree with Raven on that. Like when I started here at Cal, like starting on the virtual realm, I got so many DMs from different people reaching out to me about like, hey, like go Bears, like do you want to like talk about stuff like that? And it was just really amazing to hear about. And one of my favorite things that I really do enjoy about our campus culture here is our vibrant protest culture that we have here on campus. It is just amazing to see that students here on campus are able to voice their opinions about issues that may be affecting them or communities in their area. And by no means does this mean that you have to participate in protest culture. You can always just not partake in it, but if that is something of interest, you can be a part of it. And some of the other things that I really value about our school is our vibrant spirit and pride here we have on campus. You're going to see our lovely rally committee on the upper right here, upper right corner. It's just really beautiful to see. You'll have one with Oski. On the bottom left, you're going to see one of our rallies that we have here on campus. And if you haven't noticed already, we really value our spirit and traditions here on campus. And in the bottom right, you're going to see one of our many innovation projects that we have here on campus. I personally cannot tell you what is being built right there, but if that is something of interest for you, like innovation sort of things, Berkeley might be the place for you to explore those different options.
As a political science major, I'm also curious about what's being built there, but again, there's so many options for you here at Berkeley. And now we're going to transition into what is happening now and our global impact. So the biggest thing that we all have been affected by is COVID-19, the pandemic. And the biggest thing that the Berkeley focused on when the pandemic first hit was how are we going to address access and scalability to all of our students, whether that be through laptops or Wi-Fi routers or whatever and technologies that they may need. And so the student tech program was a big aspect of that. I know I was able to benefit from the student tech program, and other students were as well. They would get Wi-Fi routers, they were loaned laptops. And on top of that, there was remote youth programs. So the Black Recruitment and Retention Center, I worked with them this past semester, and we reached out to high school students and through this virtual environment, engaged with them about the expectations of college. So just kind of transitioning all the things that we did in person online. And then on top of that, COVID research, whether it's saliva testing, trial testing, and also focusing on how the pandemic impacts underprivileged communities. How does the pandemic look in Oakland versus does in San Francisco? Berkeley has led that research and that innovation in that field. And then of course, advocacy and social justice, we've talked about it a lot so far, focusing on human rights, anti-racism, standing for what you believe in, and also preventing trauma and burnout. As you know, burnout is a big thing across all college campuses. It's easy to get overwhelmed, but Berkeley really focuses on how they can have a holistic approach to their students, that they don't feel burnout, and that they feel as comfortable and at ease on the campus as possible. So these are all the things that we're currently focusing on during this time.
Yes, the student tech program was an amazing resource to have for me. Right now, you're going to see another poll pop up on your screen. It's just to get a feel about what you're interested in, what types of majors are of interest for you. So while you fill that out, I'll tell you about our undergraduate colleges. We have 5 undergraduate colleges on our campus: the College of Letters and Science, Rosser's College of Natural Resources, College of Environmental Design, College of Chemistry, and College of Engineering. You can major in all of these colleges. You can also double major within 2 different colleges. However, switching between colleges may be a little bit difficult, specifically between the College of Engineering and the College of Chemistry. If you are very interested in one of those majors, I highly recommend that you do apply directly to those majors, just because it can be very difficult to try and switch in or out of those colleges. However, you can minor all across the aisle and you can take classes all across the board. I know for myself, I'm a part of the College of Letters and Science. However, I've taken a few courses in the Rosser's College of Natural Resources and in the College of Environmental Design, and they have been very fun. And what I can see here right now from the poll is that a lot of us are interested in social science. However, we're all interested all across the board. So hey, fellow social science people, so glad to have you with us.
All right, and speaking of social science, we're now going to transition into the College of Letters and Science. It is the biggest college, it's my college. It also holds 3/4 of the undergraduate population and around half of the faculty. Within the College of Letters and Science, there's 5 divisions. There's arts and humanities, biological sciences, mathematical and physical sciences, social sciences, and undergraduate studies. Within this college, you have a lot of freedom to bounce around, and most students who major in different colleges will take at least 1 or 2 classes within this college, whether this is for their for their course they need to take to graduate or whatever that may be. And through this college, I've taken a ton of classes. I've taken arts and humanities, biological sciences, and all the professors and the class content has been great. And also there's 80+ majors. So you'll find that there's a lot of different students who are interested in different things, whether it's math or political science or English, all are within this college. It also holds 17 out of 25 Nobel Prize winners. So this college is not only the biggest, but it also holds a ton of diversity in what you're looking for. Like I said, even if you don't major, have a major within this college, you probably will take at least 1 class in this college. So I highly recommend it. I'm not being biased just because I'm in it, but it's an amazing college.
I'm gonna have to second that. The College of Letters and Science is an amazing college. I don't mean to be biased. It is my college as well, but it's an amazing college. But all 5 of our colleges are super fantastic. And we're off now to our Rosser's College of Natural Resources. So this is one of Berkeley's 2 founding colleges. Actually, it was originally called the College of Agriculture and is now expanded, has a focus on the environment and ecosystem. A few of the majors that we have here are biological sciences, nutrition and toxicology, ecosystem management, interdisciplinary studies, social sciences, and even economics and policy. I know a few friends who are in this college and they love it. It's a real cool blend between the social sciences, including and in the environment as well. And students really value being in this college. Their motto is see the bigger picture, make a better world, which just speaks volumes to how this college puts an emphasis to sustainability and social justice. With about 2,500 students, it's a really small, tight-knit community of students and faculty that are all there to support you with all your needs. They're just amazing people overall. I know when I took a few classes under like the environmental policy course that I took and an earthquakes course under them as well, the professors there were amazing. They truly are there to help you and motivate you to be the best students you can be there. And the people in this department are all amazing. Who doesn't want to save the planet? I mean, it's just amazing what they're doing in this department. And so if you're very interested in sustainability and like prosperity for all life, this is a really amazing college to be a part of as well.
Speaking of tight-knit colleges, we're now going to transition into the College of Environmental Design. It is the smallest college, and within this college, there are 4 majors: architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. I have a friend who is a major in architecture, and fun fact, architecture was one of the founding architecture colleges or majors within the country, and is also ranked 4th globally. Within this college, you're not just learning about how to design, but also understanding how your design impacts the environment. So that social element, the social justice element, and the sustainability element of trying to create equity and being mindful of what you're constructing. Within this college, the motto is craft ecologically sustainable and resilient, prosperous and fair, and healthy and beautifully built environments. And like I was saying before, there's a big focus on being sustainable and being very mindful of what is being created. So if you're into a very tight-knit college and also interested in any of these majors or in design, architecture, definitely this is the college for you.
I also have a friend who's in this college, and they say it's an amazing college to be a part of. They really value those labs that they have here on that college. And now we're on to our College of Chemistry. As you can see on the upper right-hand part of the slide, you're going to see that chemistry and all of their majors are ranked #1 globally. It houses around 1,000 students and has 3 majors: chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. When students apply to this college, they apply directly to those 3 majors. And as I mentioned before, I do recommend that you do apply directly to this college if you are interested, just because it can be tricky like before. And a little bit of a fun fact about this college, they found 16 elements here on campus, including berkelium and californium. And if you ever heard of like the Lewis dot structure, we were also the founders of that structure. Professor Gilbert Lewis was the creator of that. He was a professor here on campus while he was teaching about bonds between atoms. So if you ever taken a high school chemistry course, you can thank Professor Gilbert Lewis for that structure. Students here on this campus really value the labs and research that they do here on campus. There's a really big focus on innovation and being able to create something bigger and better for all people. The professors here are all amazing, and they wish to see those students who are very motivated about being the best chemists out there. And it's just I know a few people who are a part of this college, and they all love being a part of it because it is the #1 chemistry school in the world at the moment. And so it's just an amazing place to be a part of, especially if you're very interested in creating something new and something better for the world.
And now we're transitioning into the College of Engineering. There's 11 majors within this college that include bioengineering, civil and environmental engineering, and also operations research, and so much more. We highly recommend that you apply directly to this college, as it's a bit difficult to transition in and out. There's humanities and social science breadth classes, as I mentioned before, with the College of Letters and Science. Engineering students will also take classes within the humanities and the social sciences, so they can have a well-rounded structure of education. There's also different technical courses. We also have the MET program, which stands for the Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology program, where you're able to combine the Hall School of Business and the engineering, and you kind of graduate with 2 Bachelor of Science degrees, which is really dope. On top of that, we also have a separate engineering virtual visit tour. You can go on our website that encompasses more detail about this amazing college. And their motto is transform the lives of our students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change. Every student that I've met that's in engineering is not only very hardworking, but believes in that motto. As you can see, the MET class of 2022 is very diverse. So if this is a college that you're very interested in or something that you've been focusing on as high school students or wherever you're at in your education, highly recommend that you apply directly and learn more about it through our separate engineering virtual visit.
And now on to our graduate schools. Berkeley has over 100 plus graduate programs, and all 5 of our undergraduate schools do house graduate programs as well. Our 9 graduate schools are, bear with me, the Haas School of Business, School of Education, School of Information, Berkeley Law, School of Social Welfare, School of Optometry, School of Journalism, School of Public Policy, and School of Public Health. That was a mouthful right there. But all these are amazing graduate programs to be a part of. And I wish to highlight a few, especially under our Haas School of Business. You can get a graduate degree in business administration, a degree in global management, a dual bachelor's degree in biology and business, and we even mentioned before the MET program, or a management, entrepreneurship, and technology program, where you get a dual degree from Haas School of Business and the School of Engineering. And something that I really value about the graduate school is that all the students and faculty who are part of all these graduate schools are amazing people and are willing to sit down with you and talk about different options when it comes to graduate school. I was a part of a Berkeley Connect course, which is when you get connected to a graduate student mentor and you're with a small group of people. I was a part of the School of Social Welfare one, and my graduate student was amazing. She gave me so many resources to get connected to fellow people that may help me in a certain area of my specific desire. And it was just amazing to be able to talk to them and just talk ideas with them about things that maybe I'm interested in and things that they're interested in. And just building that connection between fellow graduate students is just an amazing opportunity to have.
Isaiah is absolutely right. I was able to talk to a former Berkeley Law student. So if you're interested in graduate school, there's kind of a joke that if you go through 4 years at Berkeley, you probably will come back and do some sort of graduate work. So if you're interested in any of those schools, if you want to think farther ahead, I highly recommend to look into that. So now we're going to transition into academics and specifically structure and class sizes. So we have lecture and discussion. If you're in high school environment, your lecture will be like your day-to-day, your class periods that you go through throughout the day. And your discussion will be very similar. It's like if you go to after-school tutoring, or if you have a tutor who teaches you on a specific subject. And discussion is led by our graduate student instructors. You're usually with your GSI very often, whether it's for office hours or because they go more in depth on the material that your professor goes over during lecture. But however, both your professor and your GSI hold office hours. So for me, for school, what makes it really easier is I just kind of schedule office hours with my professor and my GSI at the beginning, middle, and end. So I can just kind of check in or ask me clarifying questions throughout the semester. It also gives like a face familiarity. I mean, there's tons of students, so it's easy to make quicker connections if you have that one-on-one time. And then, of course, class sizing. Berkeley's a big campus, but it actually holds a 19:1 student-faculty ratio. And 81% of classes are fewer than 50 students. So I actually got to experience one of those classes. I was in a Korean class for my language requirement my first semester, and it held 15 of us in the whole class. And we had no GSI, just us and the professor. And we did the language class almost every day. And it was super hands-on. It was fun because we got to talk to her often. She was able to correct us on the spot. And I love this so much that I'm actually planning on taking Korean in the spring semester. That's just a little bit about the smaller class sizes and how much fun it is because it's more hands-on. And also for the bigger classes, those are usually going to be your freshman year and in more basic courses. So your intro chemistry courses or your intro classes will usually have a lot more students. But as you go along, you'll see that the class size begins to shrink. And then, of course, there's resources you can utilize. The Student Learning Center. I utilize the Student Learning Center so much when it comes to editing my papers for my English classes or for my political science classes. They're great over there. They also have opportunities where they can kind of tutor you on writing or in different forms of calligraphy or stuff like that. So it's really cool. They have different classes if you want to look into it. And then individual advising, group chats, Instagram, Facebook, I know just text messaging, a lot of students, we are on Discord. We talk about the class, we meet up to study, whether it was through virtual or once I was on campus for the spring semester, we met up social distance. So tons of opportunities to learn and to have aid throughout these classes. So you're definitely not alone. Not only are your professors and your GSIs there to help you, but also fellow students are there to help you. So I think that's a really cool part about Berkeley's structure and class sizes.
For sure, and I highly recommend that if you do come onto campus, please go to office hours. They were extremely helpful. Get to know your professor, get to know your GSI, because in the long run, it will benefit you, especially if you're looking for like, what's that thing called? Like a letter of recommendation and stuff like that. So it's really good to get to know your professors, especially if you're struggling with the class. You know, you don't want to just struggle alone. You want to get some help with that if you're able to. And on to what we have done for the fall and spring of 2020, 2021. I have full knowledge of this starting my first year on in the pandemic mode online. So our fall and spring semester were completely remote this year. However, there is a goal to do a hybridization version this upcoming school year. So it will be fully back in person. However, classes smaller than 200 people will not be in person. So there's still you're still going to have some mix between that asynchronous and synchronous type of classes. We were equipped with Zoom Pro, which is just like a more advanced version of Zoom. Especially, it's really helpful when you want to talk to your friends over Zoom. I know for myself, I did like a 10-hour Zoom chat with my friends from back home when I was here at Berkeley during the spring, and it was just amazing to have, because I think like regular Zoom like caps you off like at like a few hours, I believe. And you can have up to like 500 people within a Zoom chat. So that's really great to have. And speaking of from asynchronous to synchronous classes, so some classes met at real time online, and some other classes would just assign you the work and you would complete it within the time frame that your professor or GSI had told you to do. And some resources, virtual drop-in tutoring. I utilized this so much during my spring semester, especially during my stats class. I am not a math person at all. So when I took my stats course, I was struggling so hard in that class. However, I went to virtual drop-in tutoring, and the tutors were able to help me with that. And it was just an amazing thing to have. And there's been a lot of different instructional resilience things to have, especially with Semester in the Clouds. Semester in the Clouds was basically a few courses that were offered to students and faculty to just help ease into the transition between from in real life to virtual. So that was a really nice resource to have for our students and our faculty.
I agree with Isaiah on the drop-in hours. I also took stats for my math course, and so I utilized that a ton because I'm not the greatest at math, but that definitely made me feel like I was a math genius. So you're gonna see a poll pop up on your screens asking where you're joining us from. We just want to get a good idea of where you're all coming. As an out-of-state student, I see some central time zones, Southern California, Northern California. All right, so as you guys are filling that out, I'm going to transition into housing and dining. So we have residential halls and suites. They contain range from Clark Kerr, Blackwell, units 1 through 3, Stern. And within these housing, there is a residential assistant. There's also theme programs. So I have friends who are in the African American theme program where they all live in the same hall, and they also take classes, and it's very tight knit. I actually hung out with them a lot, and it was really cool to see how close they became because they all live on the same floor. Going back to the top of the slide, it says freshmen get priority. Freshmen do get priority as long as you select at the bottom of it when you're filling out your housing application, any room, any location. That almost basically guarantees you're going to get a housing offer. Going back to the residential assistant, the RA usually holds like different fun things for this people on your hall to do. They also make sure they check in, make sure everyone's safe. There's also common areas. I don't think they were utilized during the pandemic, but there was a study area on every floor. There's also a meal plan included. And during COVID-19, they were very strict in making sure that all the students stayed as safe as possible. So every student lived in a single room. They had face masks, and they also had social pods. They couldn't just see people that weren't on their floor with them. And I had friends who lived in the units during that time period, and they said they also did different COVID testing and contact tracing to make sure everyone stays as safe as possible. So as we're getting out of COVID-19, we'll see how that transitions. But during COVID-19, this university was very strict, and they took it very seriously, took COVID-19 very seriously, and really thought about the student safety.
For sure. And just to shout out Clark Kerr, best dorm. I was there during my first spring when I moved in the spring semester. However, I will be joining Unit 3 next year. So I'll be there under the Unity theme programming, which is our LGBTQ plus theme program. So I'll be there next year. And continuing on to our housing and dining for our transfer and continuing students. About 36% of our continuing students will live on campus still. However, the rest will be living in other areas, including international house. The international house is primarily meant for international students, as well as some domestic students are allowed to live in there. I heard the food is amazing there. I have to try it out someday, so I'm hoping to do that one day. Another, we have some affiliated properties such as Channing and Bodwich, Garden Village, Martinez Commons. These are just other housing offers that we have a part of our school. We also have some off-campus apartments. So the Berkeley hunt for apartments can be a little bit difficult. So Berkeley does equip its students with some resources to help them get connections to find some housing off campus. We also have something called co-op housing. So co-op housing basically means you get an exchange of you get a cheaper rent in exchange for doing some household items and chores like that. And Berkeley actually has one of the most available co-op housing in the nation. And we also have Greek housing. We have about 12% of our student body is a part of Greek life. And most students who are a part of Greek life do live there their first or second year, whichever they prefer. And you can also have a meal plan option, even if you are off campus. I know a few people who have like a half meal plan, so they'll maybe get meals on campus like once or twice a week, and that's perfectly fine for them. Some other meal plans include like meal plans to get some groceries off campus, or just something if they needed something really quick, especially during finals, I heard. And also, if you want some more information about Cal Housing, you can go to housing.berkeley.edu. And just a little tip of advice, if you need anything from Berkeley, literally just type in what you need.berkeley.edu. It's a lifesaver. Everything is berkeley.edu. So if you ever need to find anything, just type that in. So yeah.
Okay, and now we're on to health and safety, the university health services. So we have a variety of resources for health for our students. There's the urgent care. I utilized urgent care when I was feeling sick at the end of the semester, and they were great, and they were able to get my tests going. They were able to see me very quickly. There's also primary care and physical therapy. There's a student health insurance, the SHIP program, which allows students, if they don't have any insurance, to be insured so that if they were to get sick or they need to see a doctor on campus, they're able to do so. There's also COVID testing and tracing. COVID testing was very, very important on campus. And even if you were on an off-campus environment, I was in Greek housing for my second semester in the spring. And we had to COVID test quite frequently. And also if you were in the dorms, you definitely had to COVID test. So making sure that you stay on top of that, and you're making sure everyone around you is safe. And there's FAQs, webinars, and tips. There's a variety of ways that you can go on the Berkeley website and see more in depth about the university health services. There's also health tips from students within our decal programs, which are led by students, student courses led by students, and they talk about like sexual health and mental health from more of a non-professional perspective. And there's psychological counseling. A lot of students utilize psychological counseling if they need just someone to talk to, or if they're feeling a little bit stressed out. There's also the Path to Care, which focuses on ridding the campus of sexual harassment, sexual violence, intimate partner violence through advocacy, healing, and different training. So that is a very important part of our campus. And then there's the Optometry Eye Center. I've had friends who've gone there. I personally have not gone to the Optometry Eye Center, even though I should probably go get my eyes checked out. But I will definitely be utilizing that resource this next upcoming semester. And then there's just general stress relief. All across the country and the world, college students, as I mentioned before, they tend to get burnt out. So there's Pause for Mental Health, there's Lamapalooza, that's pictured in the top right-hand corner. Just different ways for students to just kind of just chill, whether that's during finals week or that's throughout the semester, at the beginning of the semester, just finding resources for you to be able to just ease the tension, even with the busy schedules that a lot of students on our campus take on.
Yeah, I utilize the university health services a lot. I am somebody who gets sick really easily. I get a lot of sore throats throughout the year. That's just me. So I get sick super fast. I utilize it around 5 or 6 times within the spring semester. And they're all amazing and really nice people to talk to. Like I walked in, they're literally as sick as you can be. And I was still just laughing and talking with them because they're willing to keep you company while you're waiting. And so it's just a really nice thing to have. And now on to our campus safety services. We are in a metropolitan area, so a lot of people have questions about, are they going to be guaranteed safety? Will I be will there be some sort of thing to keep me safe around here? And to answer that question, yes. Berkeley has tried to equip itself with different resources in order to provide its students with the optimum safety that they can have. Some of the things we have is our UC Police Department. They operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the entire year. We also have blue light poles. These are just giant poles that you'll see all over campus. So we have about over 100 of them. You'll see them on campus, and you also see them within your residential halls. And all you need to do is that you press one of the buttons and you'll get connected to UCPD within 3 minutes, or it'll directly dial 911 if you're feeling unsafe within that within that area you are in. We also have something called our Warn Me system. You can get that through text message or email. You and your parents can both sign up for it. I had it. I got it both text and email. And with that, you just get notified if there's, say, like a gas leak within campus, or if the air quality is bad, or if like you need to avoid a certain area within that day. It's just really nice to have to keep an update on what's happening around the Berkeley area. Some other things we have is our residential hall 3-point security system. The residential halls try to make sure that everything is safe. So there are 3 main access points in order to get into the residential hall. So it's very hard for somebody to try and enter that residential hall unless you are a resident of that hall. Some of our night services we have our night safety shuttle. This operates during the school year from 7:30 p.m. up until dusk, which is 3 a.m. I believe. And this will take you your nearby residential halls or nearby parking facilities, or just a nearby area that you need to go to. It's really nice, especially if you're having to work late at night or if you're studying late at night at the library. It's really nice to have. We also have something called Bear Walk. We have these trained community service officers, which are trained students who are willing to walk you to your nearby areas like night safety will. And that's a great resource to have as well if you're studying late at night. And they operate 365 days throughout the year, 7 days a week. They also operate from 7 p.m. up until 3 a.m. So you can utilize that as well if you're feeling unsafe and you just want somebody to walk with you at night.
I just want to reiterate, do not hesitate to utilize those resources. Warn Me is a really great for notifying of things that are happening around campus. So yeah, just don't ever feel ashamed if you're feeling a little nervous or feeling uncomfortable. Just utilize those resources. They're there for you to use. And then now we're going to transition into student development. As a Black woman on campus, going into Berkeley, I really wanted to make sure that not only were my identities valued, but I had spaces for myself. And that is a great part about Berkeley, is that there are a ton of different communities and resources that you can utilize no matter what identities you hold, especially if in different arenas. So the Associated Students at the University of California, the ASUC, is so great because it involves different students from different majors and that are focused on different issues, whether it's globally within our community, that kind of come together and create legislation for our campus and create opportunities for our students to make it more equitable. There's also the EOP program, the Equal Opportunity Program. Isaiah talked about it a little bit, but it's for underrepresented minorities, first-generation students, or low-income students, and you're automatically in the program if you're in one of those 3 categories or in all the categories. And it's really great resource. I utilize it a lot when it comes down to like planning out my schedule or just meeting up with students of the same race to just kind of study or talk about our future goals or things that we're passionate about. So definitely something that allows you to branch out if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable on campus or you want to feel like you feel more connected to other students. And then there's a Transfer Students Center, there's an Undocumented Students Program, there's a Disabled Students Program as well, which is one of the founding Disabled Students Program at a university. And there's also a Basic Needs Center. You know, if you need help with anything, whether it's clothing or food, it's nothing to be ashamed of at Berkeley. People are there to help you and to provide you those resources. So all these things combined, not only is the community, but the student development was a really big reason why I decided to go to Berkeley. And I've only scratched the surface as a freshman. I'm sure there are tons of programs that I haven't even got a chance to be a part of yet that I'm still reaching out to and looking forward to. So yeah, it's just a big array of things for students to be able to feel as connected as possible, as comfortable as possible, and definitely make Berkeley your second home. So do not be concerned about the student resources on campus because there are a ton of them.
I echo everything Raven was saying. As a queer student of color, I wanted to make sure that all my identities were seen and heard. So being able to connect to we have something called the Gen X Center or Gender Equity Center. It's a great resource to have, especially if you're a queer identifying student. We also have some like Latinx identifying students, Asian Pacific American student organizations, African American student programs, all these different identities that you can get connected to and meet people that are alike like you, or people that are even different from you. There's just so many different identities that are being that are being put forward for everybody to be a part of. Next, we're going to go on beyond our academics. We have over 1,000 registered student organizations, so you're bound to find something that fits your interests and niches. And if you don't find something, you can always create your own organization as well. That's always something of your interest as well. We have over 270 volunteering programs. Students on this campus really value volunteering and going out to the communities and offering their services as well. I know I want to join a part of a few when I get back on the campus. I'm super excited to be a part of that. We also have a lot of campus employment. A lot of students here do have campus jobs, especially if you have work study. And with work study, you get connected to different job opportunities. That's how I have this current job and how I have a second current job as well. You also can use our Career Center. The Career Center is a great resource to have for you. If you want to get connected to a career counselor, they'll help you like plan out different activities that you'd like to do, or like you can find different internships with them, different job opportunities, and just different things like that that may be focusing more towards like the career path you wish to do. And talking about internships, since we are in the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Silicon Valley area, there are a lot of high quality internships out here on campus. I know for myself, I talked to a few friends that have already gone internships at Google, Apple, Facebook, and all these different ones, and they're only first year students. So there's no stopping you for what you want to do. And something that I was told as a incoming student was that you do not have to have any experience or research experience in order to be a part of these different types of things. I know for myself, being from the middle of nowhere, there's not very many internships available or different research opportunities. However, I was told that you don't need to have any of that because we are going to be your first step in order to get that experience for you. So it's just a really great resources to have. Studying abroad is also extremely popular here on campus. I hope to do that one day. Students get a really nice international spin on their education, and they love everything about being able to study abroad. And with also, we have the Bay Area exploration. One can never be done exploring the Bay Area. You're going to find something new to do every single day. I know for myself, I went to San Francisco a few times, and I felt like I was in like a different city each time I would go. And it's just a really nice place to be in. So yeah.
And now it's time for athletics. So coming from Texas, where football and basketball are really big, or sports in general is really big, obviously this sports and athletics was a big thing that I was interested in. So Berkeley is a Division I school. It's the highest level for the NCAA. And if you don't want to play for the NCAA or Division I, there's also tons of different club and intramural options for students. I know a bunch of students like meet up and play soccer together, or they meet up and play volleyball. So if you don't want to just play at the highest level of competition, you can also just play amongst friends or within a club to get your workout going. There's a California Memorial Stadium, which is pictured in the top left-hand corner, the entrance of the football players. What's so funny is that my sorority house is like about, I would say like less than 30 seconds, if a minute away from the stadium. And I actually got COVID tested within California Memorial Stadium. So it was so funny because a bunch of freshmen would like look through this little bit of like glass where you're able to kind of see the stadium, and we kind of try to peek in line while we're waiting for COVID testing. So hopefully we get to actually be inside the stadium this upcoming semester. There's also the Haas Pavilion, which holds our basketball team, our volleyball teams, pictured in the top bottom right-hand corner. There's Recreational Sports facility, the RSF. A ton of students go there and schedule to, work out, whether that's swimming or going on the treadmill or lifting weights. There's tons of ways that you can just kind of stay fit. And also, Olympic medals. We have 207 Olympic medals. Obviously, the Olympics are happening right now. They're kicking off today. And there are about 50 plus Golden Bears, former or current Golden Bears, who are in the Olympics right now. So it's all root for them. You probably usually spot them within swimming and water polo. So if you see like them mention Cal anywhere, definitely cheer them on. We're very proud of our athletics as we are academic programs here on campus.
For sure. And now on to some of our remote resources. Social media networking was very important and very key for me with this first year. I utilize like Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Loop Chat. Facebook is really huge here for some reason. So people use Facebook a lot here. And like all I would do is like I would DM people like, hey bestie, you go to Cal, hey. like stuff like that. And it was just a really nice thing to do. You can also do like student groups and clubs as well. I know for me, when I joined the UC Rally Committee, they always held social hours and weekly meetings, and I felt really a part of really part of their community throughout the entire school year. We also have like departmental webinars. These can be professional and personal ones as well. I know for myself, I saw a few concerts live, so I was able to see like I saw Rina Sawayama perform. I got to see Japanese Breakfast perform. I also got to go to different live webinars of Jordan Klepper, Dylan O'Brien. I got to see all of them. I was living my full life for all of them. I was like, girl, get it. I was like, per. And then we also have like Golden Bear orientation that I was speaking of before. This is where you're going to get your first networks of students to interact with, especially when you get connected to two different orientation leaders. You get to walk around the campus, you get to meet different types of people that you never met before, and you just get that first introduction to the school through your orientation week. So yeah.
I definitely was there for the Dylan O'Brien one, and I just felt all of the Teen Wolf moments just flooding back to me as a teenager. It was wonderful. So now we're going to talk about libraries and research. The campus libraries, there's 24 official libraries. If you stand in the memorial, if you stand in the glade, you'll actually, and you like turn around, you'll see like 3 of our libraries. One of them you see pictured there in the top left-hand corner is the Doe Library, beautiful library on the outside. I can't wait to be on the inside of it this upcoming semester. There's 13 plus million volumes and also extensive online resources. So because we're in a virtual environment, I was able to check out books online, which is really not only financially great for me, but it was also like able to easy access to books and let me know that when I'm on campus, I don't have to always go to the library. I can also just log on online to get the resources I need. There's also research programs. Our undergraduate research apprenticeship program is really big amongst all students. They hold research programs across all majors and disciplines. And a lot of people think that research is just kind of centered around STEM, but actually a large portion of people who do research are our social science students and arts and humanities. So if you think that research is just limited to STEM, absolutely not. There's tons of research programs for people who are in the social science realm and different other realms outside of that. So really great opportunity. I can't wait to utilize that at this upcoming semester. Then there's departmental opportunities. There's like a biology scholars program. There's one for like chemistry. So if you want something that's more centered and focused on specifically your major, there's also those opportunities for you as well. So tons of places to study and to find what you need and to also delve deeper into your major and things that you're interested in.
Yeah, and now on to our famous alumni and professors. We have Stephen Chu, who was the former US Secretary of Engineering and a Nobel Peace Prize winner back in 1997. We have Jennifer Doudna, one of our most recent Nobel Peace Prize winners in chemistry, and she's a professor here on campus. We have Beverly Cleary. If you ever read the Ramona and Quimby series, or if you ever watched Ramona and Biza, fantastic film. She is the creator of that as well. We have Chris Pine, actor from Star Trek and Wonder Woman. Janashia Adams-Ginyard, who is an actress as well and a stunt woman from Black Panther. We have Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, and Alex Morgan, a former World Cup winner from the US national soccer team.
And now we're going to talk about campus highlights. So one of the great things about Berkeley, coming from Texas, which is more of like, it's an urban environment, but not as lush in nature as it is at Berkeley. There's fire trails, there's Strawberry Creek, there's hills on campus. It's so amazing because you'll start like at Sather Gate and walk around and see all this nature as you keep furthering into the campus. And then you kind of walk back and then you're coming deeper into like downtown Berkeley. It's just like this good urban and rural mix, which I think just allows a lot of tranquility for students, a lot of diversity. If you're interested in different environments or come from a different environment, you'll kind of get that mix. It caters to a lot of different students. And one thing that's pictured on the top left-hand corner is the Berkeley squirrels. Where I'm from, squirrels just kind of run away and they don't engage with us, but Berkeley squirrels will like come up to you and they might come to your table. It's because apparently they're well fed by students. So Berkeley squirrels are very unique. Shout out to Berkeley students for feeding them. And as I mentioned before, Strawberry Creek is pictured in the bottom right-hand corner. I know students that went hiking and just looked at the sunset. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge and just the beautiful skyline. So tons of opportunities to get that urban rural mix, like I said before. I think that's really cool about Berkeley. It's not only a mixture of students and majors, things that you can be focused on, but also environment. So if that's of interest to you, definitely highly consider Berkeley for that. And now we're going to transition into our live Q&A session.
Thank you both so much for that incredible tour. I learned a lot. That was very exciting. And now it's time for some live Q&A. Our first question is for Isaiah. Would you say that it's difficult to get the classes that you want since it's such a big school?
Yeah, amazing question. That was one of my like primary concerns when I first joined campus. However, it's a mix. It's a mix depending on, especially when it's like your very first intro classes that you need for like prerequisites, say like your intro to sociologies, intro to psychology, like these type of courses, they can be a little bit difficult to get in. However, when you start getting into the motion of like your more intended majors and stuff like that, it gets a lot easier to get into the classes you want. I know I spoke to a few people that are second and third years, and they said it got a lot easier to get into their classes because certain classes are focused for that primary major or for those primary people. And so there was a lot of classes to have, especially and if certain classes you can't get into, you can always get into them next semester, and you can fill them out with like decals. Decals are super fun to be a part of. These are just courses taught by fellow undergraduate students. I took a spirits and traditions one. That was fun. I also took one about cooking. Cooking was super fun. I don't know how to cook at all, so that was really nice to learn. And so yeah, it can be a little bit difficult, but it's not as difficult once you get into the higher levels of your education, like your second, third, and fourth year.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm heading into my senior year, and I've definitely found that it's pretty easy to get the classes once you are up towards the end of your college experience. Our next question is for Raven. What is it like adjusting to life at Berkeley for an out-of-state student?
Yes, so probably more difficult during the pandemic because for me personally, I didn't get a chance to like physically be on the campus as much as I wanted to before I joined. But as an out-of-state student, the biggest thing I'd recommend is reaching out to other out-of-state students, asking them about their transition, how they did it before, who they met up with. I also connected with out-of-state students within my cohort. So a lot of us, one of my friends, he's from New York, my other friend's from Florida. So we kind of like scheduled our flights around the same time and met up on campus and kind of explored together so we could be more familiar with not only just Berkeley, but the surrounding areas of California in general, because we had no experience with that. So definitely find other out-of-state students, but also find students who lived in Berkeley their whole life, who grew up here, who have toured the campus a bunch of times, because they'll give you a lot of information, things that you might need, resources, transportation. In Texas, we mainly just drive cars. We don't really take the bus. So taking public transit was definitely new for me. So I had to learn through Berkeley students and from California students, like what that was like. So yeah, a good mix of definitely teaming up with people who are a little bit unfamiliar so you can kind of go through it together, and also find people who are very familiar with the area. Outside of that, there's not much of a transition. All of us are college students coming in, learning different things, learning similar majors. So that's only the main transition that I kind of dealt with as an out-of-state student.
Thank you so much and for that great advice. That was awesome. Our next question is from the audience and it's for Isaiah. How do you manage and balance your academic and social life?
Yeah, this is a really great question. It comes with time to figure out that balance between academics and your own social life. How I was able to finally figure that out was I would use Google Calendars a lot of it. Like I would specifically strike out certain hours of the day. Like that is for me. That is my time. And my time is usually laying down on the floor and listening to like the Ratatouille soundtrack. That is me. I love doing that. That's my favorite thing to do, actually. But yeah, like blocking out certain hours for you, that is super important because you need that you time. Because if you don't, then it's just going to get everywhere. And like picking out your classes, I know for myself, like if you're not like a really morning person, you have that option to take classes later in the day. But if you are a morning person, you can fill out those classes in the morning. Your schedule is very flexible with it. You pick the classes that you want to meet at and like the times that you want. That's the great thing about college, is that you create your own schedule. You build it the way you need it or the way you want it. And so that's how I was able to really strike that balance. And especially when it came to like social things, like with certain clubs. If I didn't join as many clubs the first semester, I was focusing more on the academic aspect. However, in that second semester, once I figured out how to transition right into school, that's when I finally figured out like, hey, these are the certain hours they're meeting. I won't do classes during this time, so I can hang out with them more. So that's how I was able to strike that balance between the social and the academic.
Thank you. That was lots of incredible advice being given on this tour today. Our next question is for Raven. And what are your passions and how do you fulfill them at Berkeley? And have you discovered any passions while you're at Berkeley that you didn't realize you had before?
Yes, so I'm very passionate about social justice and advocacy. So I also enjoy politics. So I kind of joined political science and also our student government. So I can learn more about the structure of that and how writing policy is and how just politics in general work. Utilizing ASUC is a really cool way to kind of get a mini version of what politics in a grand scheme is like, because student government is very formal and not only its election process, but in its policymaking process, in this process of just engaging with students. So that was a great way I can explore my passions. But a passion that I discovered on Berkeley was my passion for nature and the outdoors. I thought I was definitely an inside person, especially growing up in Texas where the heat is just very, very high. But Berkeley had just beautiful weather, and I found myself, being outside way more, being more curious about the environments I'm in. So I'm actually going to be taking some natural resources classes this upcoming semester, so I can kind of delve into that more. So I would say just more learning, having better appreciation for the outdoors was a big thing that happened to me on the campus. But yeah, Berkeley is a great place where you're able to not only find new passions, but kind of just continue to build on the passion that you came in with. And if it changes, trust me, there is something for everyone. So if you shift gears, all the way to a different type of learning or interest, there's something at Berkeley for you. So do not be worried about that. You'll discover and learn more about yourself and also continue to build off of things that you're interested in. So I think that was a cool thing about Berkeley, was that I was able to find something new.
That is fantastic. And Berkeley is the home of the change makers. So we accept change here and we embrace it. So that is kind of the wrap up of our tour today. I have one final question for the both of you, and that is, what is your Berkeley story? Why did you choose Berkeley, and what has led you to stay and enjoy all of the experiences that Berkeley has to offer? Isaiah, can you tell us your Berkeley story first?
Yeah, for sure. So my Berkeley story starts in that transition from middle school to high school. Before going into high school, I had no idea what college was. I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea that higher education was a possibility. Just because where I come from, it's in the middle of nowhere, and I'm a first generation student, so I had no extended family had ever been to college. And so with that kind of notion that you don't know about that type of stuff, you often get told like you can't amount to certain things, or you can't do this because you're not in that area. Like it's not in the purview for a person like me to go into higher education. But that never just sat right with me. And so I made it my job, my duty to do in high school, to do my best to try and get somewhere. I still wasn't sure about what college was. It was still a very blurry image in my mind. But once it got towards the application process, I was so lost and so confused on what the whole process was. So I went on like Instagram and I saw people's bios, and one person that I saw had UCB 2022, and I just DM'd them and I was like, hey, how does the application process work? I'm very interested in college, but I just don't know what to do. And so they explained to me what it meant and what to do, and they even told me about Berkeley. That's where they're at. And that was just really beneficial to me. But I was still like, Berkeley's just way out of my league. And then when I got the acceptance letter into Berkeley, I was just so elated and so excited about it. And when it finally came down to deciding on where to go, I really Berkeley's like main message, like its mission statement, really stood out to me. Being a change maker, being an innovator, being motivated to do something bigger and better to help people. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. Prove those people wrong that told me you can't be bigger and better, but I can. So being able to hear that, I decided on Berkeley. And I have never regretted a moment of choosing Berkeley at all. Being with people that are all motivated, hearing people that have similar stories to me, or people that even have completely different stories from me, and that they still were able to come down this path to Berkeley, was just amazing to hear. And it's just been an amazing time to be able to be the first person to go to college in my family. And it's just yeah, it's just been super fun to be a part of here. And that's my story to get here.
And yeah, my Berkeley story is a bit different, considering that I'm an out-of-state student and I come from Texas, where Texas schools definitely reign supreme. So challenge the status quo definitely happened a bit earlier for me in my beginning of my senior year. I was just applying to a bunch of different schools, trying to figure out what best fit me. And I figured out about the UC application about 2 weeks or a week before the deadline. And through that, I did quick research on Berkeley, and I was like, oh, wow, the free speech movement, and oh, they're great for my major and things that I'm interested in. So I applied on a whim, kind of forgot about it, but I would start to see Berkeley more like name recognition on television, and whether it's on CNN or in different documentaries. So Berkeley became like a standout school for me. Through that, it was like something switched in my brain after I applied. And so I remember it was Ivy Day, and Berkeley was the first like admissions list I was opening up, and I was very nervous. And I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to get other acceptances, so hopefully I get into this school. I remember just opening it up and crying and screaming, and my mom was like filming, and like she like let off a confetti popper randomly. I didn't even know she had it. And she told me that that she felt as though that Berkeley was a school that I was definitely leaning towards. That I began to talk about it more over the upcoming months after I applied, and definitely just finding that community of students who were just as passionate about Berkeley and were able to explain the school to me definitely like was the push and the nudge for me to just go ahead and choose a school as my school. What's the great thing about Berkeley is that even through this tour, we're able to go over everything that is to offer at Berkeley, but there are so many things, whether it's the community, the friends you'll meet, the professors, the GSIs, all of that. They're just amazing. And it's just a school that everyone should want to be a part of. And I hope that through this tour today and through just hearing about our Berkeley stories that you might figure out that Berkeley is a place for you.
Those are both so inspiring. That was incredible. I love both of your Berkeley stories. Thank you for sharing. That is the end of our tour here today. You can have some resources that I'll give you right now. You can check out our UVisit tour, uvisit.com/Berkeley. It's kind of a 360-degree view, and you can click on buildings and hear our chancellor speak. You can also follow us on Instagram @VisitUCBerkeley to see more of what we're up to. If you have any more questions, you can email tour@berkeley.edu, and an ambassador just like one of us will answer your questions. You can head over to the Bear Talk blog to read some more Berkeley stories like the ones Isaiah and Raven just shared with us today. Recorded virtual visits are available on our YouTube channel @VisitUCBerkeley. You can head over there and see some panels and engineering visits as well. You can see what we're doing to celebrate 150 years of women being accepted to our university at 150w.berkeley.edu. The admissions presentation is located at admissions.berkeley.edu/visit if you're looking for more of that side of things. And finally, you can register for other student ambassador panels and engineering visits at the same place you registered for this one. That's visit.berkeley.edu. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today. We really enjoyed answering your questions, and I hope you all enjoyed our tour today. And if Isaiah and Raven want to join me in doing a Go Bears on 3, since that is our mascot and such a big thing to do here. 1, 2, 3, Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Have a great day.